Hi, welcome to another video. I'm really excited because I love doing experiments, and with the bloom technique I've learned so much. And today I wanted to compare the difference between opaque paints and transparent paints. Now traditionally when you do the bloom, you want to use more transparent paints, so when you blow, the different colors kind of come through. However, for me, I started as a more traditional artist doing portraits, so most of my paints weren't actually transparent at all. Number two, I prefer really bold colors. Personally, people do beautiful things with transparent and sparkly and all these things, which I love too, which I can try to get better at. But so I was really curious to see what would happen if I used only transparent colors in one painting and opaque colors in another. So you might ask, for beginners, how do you know the difference? Well, let's look at these opaque colors. So for instance, this is Liquitex, and you see there's a little square here that's black. So when you see a black full square, that means it's opaque. Here's another Liquitex with a clear square, meaning it's transparent. Then we have this golden paint, and you see there's like a swipe across and it's pretty thick. You can't really see through it. Whereas with this color, you can see the lines coming through it. So that tells you that it's pretty transparent. Number three, with the Amsterdam paints, you have this black square here. And for the transparent color, you have a empty square. So with this technique, it's a lot of science and trial and error, because there's many steps that you need to get good at. So one of the things you need to get good at is paint consistency, because you're using 3 different layers of paint. You're using the first layer, which they call the pillow paint, which is traditional house paint. And then you're using your mixed color paint. And then you're using your cell activator, which I call the magic sauce. And they have to be relatively similar. Traditionally, the pillow paint is a little thicker than your colors, and your colors are a little thicker than your cell activator. And it is a lot of trial and error because there's so many different types of paints. Pillow paints all over the world, house paints. And what I have available to me now is kind of like a cheaper paint, a home hardware eggshell. So I've had to add a bit of water to thin it out. So here is, let's see if I can, so you can kind of see, it looks thin, but the way you test is by doing the puddle underneath, and you want it to kind of sit for a minute and then sink, or I do anyways. And when you mix your colors, you have to really make sure that they match up, or else your colors might slide right off the paint, or they might be too heavy, and when you blow into it, they'll just kind of disappear. A lot can go wrong, trust me. So I've never actually done this experiment before, so this might go wrong too, I don't know. But let's get started. Give me a minute and I'll set everything up. Okay, so I've laid my pillow down. What I've mixed my paints with is this Opaque lacquer, which in Canada, I got at Home Depot, and they also have it at Lowe's, and it's a really good tintable base paint. I also add this Jo Sonja polyurethane, which helps get the cells with the activator. But for those who aren't able to get it, they use polyacrylic, and I added a bit of polyacrylic too, just to thin it out a bit, because as I said, I'm working with paint that I have to thin, so I have to really play with my consistencies. So the first color that we're going to use, let's say, is the Cerulean Blue Deep by Golden. Remember, this is the opaque ones. Now I'm going to assume that using all opaque isn't going to look so wonderful, because it probably will get muddy when all of the pigments in the paint mix together and stretch out. You'll hear my son screaming in the background, but he's just playing, not to worry. And the next color I'm going to do is Ultramarine Violet by Amsterdam. And I guess I could have chosen better opaque colors, but this is kind of just what I grabbed. So we'll hope that it doesn't look too awful. The next color, I'm trying to layer them kind of darker to lighter. The next color I'm going to do is Amsterdam Grayish Blue. Okay, in a minute I'm just going to torch my colors because there's a lot of air bubbles and we don't want air bubbles. And I'm sad to say, I'm sure when I spin this, there's going to be lots of air bubbles as well because this paint has a lot of air bubbles. So we'll just have to deal with that when it happens. The next color I'm going to use is the Liquitex Soft Body Bright Aqua Green. I really like the Soft Body Liquitex because they're already very liquidy and they just mix in super fast and easy with the paint. Finally, I'm doing Medium Magenta by Golden. And then we will put on the Cell Activator, which is the magic sauce, as I like to call it. I'm using Australian Floetrol with Amsterdam Payne's Gray. Australian Floetrol is very different than the American Floetrol. It's not easy to get. You mostly get it on eBay. If you can't get it, then you have to add a bunch of different stuff to the American one. Now, I'm using a spinner, a cake spinner. I've put foil down with a little paint underneath so it doesn't fly. Normally I have a whole big box that I spin in and make a big mess, but I didn't feel like bringing it, so I hope I don't make a big mess everywhere. Okay, so now it's time to blow it out. I don't like that it's not a nice perfect circle because that's going to give me problems later, but let's see. Here we go. So now I'm going to blow and I hope I do a good job. Let's do it. Okay, so you can see a lot of white has come up because I probably blew too hard in those areas. We can see here some nice cells coming. As I said, when I spin it, I'm sure it's going to be kind of muddy. Oh, I'm going to go close that door so you don't hear my husband and son yelling. 1 minute. They're playing a game called Poop on the Floor where you avoid stepping on poop. So that's where we've come to here. Okay, so you can kind of see how they're thick. And I wonder, it's hard to tilt. I wonder when I spin it out what it's going to look like. Now, I use a spinner because I'm horrible at tilting. There's a lot of amazing people who can tilt. The master of this technique, Shelley Crothers, is an amazing tilter. Mine just always look like aliens. And I like the way that when I spin, it stays kind of intact. Now, I'm not going to spin too hard because, as I said, I don't have protection here and I don't want to make a huge mess. Normally, I'd be spinning very vigorously. So, okay, we can see how, you see what I mean by it's kind of muddy, like the colors kind of just bleed in together. So I want to get the white off while still making it look nice. Okay, so let's see, I'll do a close-up here. This is what we've got. I'm going to spin it a few more times to kind of make it more even. But so far, you can kind of see that it's a bit muddy. It's very, you can see the defined blue, you can see the defined pink. It could be interesting if you like it and chose different colors. So that's the opaque. I will be right back with the next experiment. Okay, so now it's time for transparent paints. I will start with Amsterdam Greenish Blue. Let's see, is this good? We'll see what happens. Now with all transparent paint, it also might look muddy. We don't know. Also, I don't have many options for transparent. I apologize again, that's my son in the background. I don't have many options for transparent paints at the moment, so I kind of just have to make do with what I have here. So here's a yellow. So for instance, I'm assuming when these two mix together, it will turn into a kind of greenish because the yellow and the blue. We'll make the green, but we'll see. Let's bring this back to the middle a little bit here. So I won't put too much of that. Oh, that was Cad Yellow Medium by Golden. The next one I will do is the acrylic permanent blue violet. Let's see, how's this consistency? All right. Here we go. Isn't that sound? I don't know if you can hear it, but it's like a injured bird, which is not jarring at all at all times. Next we have Reflex Rose by Amsterdam. It's a fun neon-y color. Sometimes shows up nicely. Oops, that was a big bubble that fell. So I'm trying to keep my paints relatively in a circle, and hopefully I can blow them out in more of a circle, although this is tilting a little bit here for some reason. We don't. I'm gonna bring it right back there. And finally, I have the Quinacridone Magenta, which is the soft body Liquitex. And then we will put on the magic sauce and see what happens here. Okay, so this back a little bit. Now, here we go. Pray to the bloom gods that it's a good blow. I have to pray a lot to them. Oh, there we go. Here we go. Okay, I have a lot of black in the middle. I'm hoping it will kind of disappear a little bit. Oh, it's going overboard. When it comes back together, I'm holding this paint up so it doesn't all spill because I want to keep it relatively in the middle. So when I spin it, it spins nicely. So let's move her. I don't want to move it yet. So I'm going to wait till the paint comes back in all the way so it can just slide gracefully off the canvas while I'm holding the side. Is that gonna work? All right, let's see. Are we moving nicely? A little bit. And I'm just helping the paint move along by doing that. I want to do it very gently because I don't want to move my cells too much here. There we go. Okay, we're back there a little bit. Now I will tilt it this way a little bit to get more paint moving this way. Okay, so it's not totally perfectly centered, but let's see what happens when I spin it. Hopefully it won't fly. Oops. Okay. Let's get her going up here a little bit. All right. I can see my spinner is uneven for some reason, which it shouldn't be. But let's get this guy back down a little bit here. And again, I'm not spinning too vigorously because I don't want it to go flying. Normally, I'd be just having a field day with it. But there's already paint everywhere in my life. So I'm trying to minimize the paint damage. Okay, you know, that's really pretty. It is a little kind of dark and muddy. I'm gonna spin it one more time. Let's see. I'll bring it up close to you. But there's some nice parts. I like, it's kind of watercolory here. It's pretty. It's not something, I would want a little bit of variety. But I like it. What do you think? I hope you liked it. Thank you so much for joining, and leave me a message if you have any questions, or subscribe if you liked it a lot. Thank you.